When it comes to Video Game Tycoon, I have my own personal story on it. Video Game Tycoon was released in 2006 by Game Software. Looking at their track record, this appears to be their first and only game that they've made. Sure, they've made other versions, but this is the only game that they've made. I was in 8th grade and they were having a book fair at my school. So I saw this game and I was like, wow, it looks awesome. But I just didn't have the money, so I didn't buy it. Now that I've got older, I decided to give this game a look and to finally try it out. I bought this game for about $10 on Amazon, and is it worth buying? As always, we'll take a look at the graphics, audio, and of course, the gameplay. So first off, we have graphics, and since this game was released in 2006, those are the standards that we will be using. For 2006, these are some very below average graphics. Everything is low res. The environments, the character models. The text is easily the worst. It looks something I made out of Microsoft Word. Even though this game probably isn't the worst looking in 2006, it is very below average. But I will give it credit, since it does have very low system requirements, it does run fairly smooth. However, with everything said and done, this game gets a 4 out of 10 for graphics. Again, nothing about the graphics are impressive. Everything is very low res and nothing is really spectacular. Heck, even Deus Ex back in 2000 looks better than this game. And now onto the audio. Similar to the graphics, there's nothing really impressive about the audio. The sound effects are very stock and they sound like that they have been recycled from other games. No matter what car that you have, every car sounds the same. The person who guides you through the menus is the only voice in the game, but this has to be one of the most artificial and robotic voices I've ever heard.
The buttons on the top far left are used to access the different editors within the Video Game Tycoon game.
If I was to talk like that, you'd probably stop watching my videos too. Either way, the music doesn't help out either. Everything sounds very kiddie and just so generic and just blah. However, there is one redeemable factor with the music. You can actually insert your own tracks. It might not be the easiest process, but anytime I'm able to listen to Skrillex from playing the game, that's a thumbs up in my book. Overall, the audio is just pretty poor. I'm gonna have to give this a 3 out of 10. The sound effects are very basic and the music is also very terrible. However, giving me the ability to put in my own tracks does help a little bit. The robotic lady that talks is also very terrible as well. On to the gameplay. Now after you create your profile, you can go play one of the sample games, check a tutorial, or go right into building your own games. Now playing these games are very wonky. The control scheme is horrible. It's easily the worst thing about the gameplay. Nothing feels smooth, nothing feels right when you're controlling it. Everything is just either too stiff or just too crazy the way it moves. I recommend buying a gamepad and just playing with a controller because that's the only way to experience these games to its fullest. However, you can't change the assigned buttons, so whatever you have is what you have. One thing that I have to give this game credit for is the tutorial. This game has a very extensive tutorial system. However, a little bit too extensive because it kind of tends to repeat itself after the 3rd or 4th tutorial that you'll watch. Even though everything is explained, the tutorials aren't really too hands-on. It really just shows you the motions and guides you through them. It's basically broken down in 7 steps, first being the title, second being the objectives, then the sky, then the terrain, then the objects, the environment, and the player. It's important that everything is done in this order or something can get messed up. And trust me, if you place an object or the player way before you even place the environment, you're going to have a lot of issues. When creating the terrain, you can use a pre-made one or you can create your own by combining different pieces together, such as different types of city blocks to create a full city. This is actually pretty cool and gives you some freedom when creating your worlds. Another thing you could do is edit the objects. You can change the colors, change how strong it is, add life points, decrease life points, give it certain armor, certain weapons, whatever you'd like to do. However, it's not very involved and it is pretty basic. However, you can unlock additional features if you complete certain objectives. These certificates and award will give you some things such as being able to burn your games on CDs, adding different perspectives for you to use, more in-depth customization with characters, so on and so forth. When creating the objectives, there are different types such as collecting items, destroying a certain amount of targets, and various other little things. You can also put in a reward for each objective that's completed, such as unlocking a new character, unlocking a new level, or beating the game entirely. Of course, with the object editor, you have controls on increasing the size of it, increasing its position, on the y-axis, x-axis, rotating it, and all that good stuff. Through and through, building your game and creating it is the strength of Video Game Tycoon, and it is the main focus. However, I just wish there was more variety with the objects. There doesn't seem to be that many objects. And when it comes to characters, there's only one guy and one girl that you can choose from, and 2 different outfits. Making your own games is fun, and there are also some cool features here, such as you can create a 2-player game, whether you want it to be co-op or competitive. One thing is lacking in this game though, and that is the tycoon aspect. How the hell can you call this Video Game Tycoon if you're not even a business? Just look at every tycoon game that's come before this. It all involves some sort of money. Even the game, the movies, you can make your own movies and sure you can watch them, but at the end of the day you're trying to make money and you're creating the best movies possible for your business, your studio to thrive. So why call it Video Game Tycoon? Why not just call it Video Game Creator or something like that? Either way, the overall gameplay gets a 6 out of 10. Creating your own video games is always fun. Even though in this game, the mechanics are kind of basic and you can't go wild. There's only a certain number of things you can do. And since it kind of appeals to children and younger audiences, you can't go all out. Plus, the controls is one of the biggest problems when it comes to the gameplay. You don't really feel in control regardless of what device you're using. The gamepad and the game controller is the best option, but it's not the greatest since you can't change the bindings anyways. Plus, as I said just a little bit before, there's nothing tycoon about it. You're not managing a business, you're just making games for the hell of it to play with friends or just to play by yourself when you're bored one day. And now for the closing thoughts. The people at Game Suite Software took a very unique and difficult concept to approach. However, the guys didn't have the experience nor the resources to really make a great game out of this. Conceptually, this is amazing, but the execution is not the greatest. With below average graphics, horrible audio, and just a little bit above average gameplay, it could have been a lot more. However, there are a few redeeming qualities. Even how basic the video game creator is, it's actually a lot of fun. I'm currently working on one right now when I plan to show it to a couple of my friends. However, I probably won't be making any more after this, and that's why my final score is a 5.5 out of 10. Personally, I'd recommend it to younger audiences, possibly teenagers, but anyone over than that, it's a hard sell. Now if you don't mind, I'm just going to blast my Skrillex and get out of here. This is Pow3rh0use, signing off.